we want to do with this film. So I'm going to let you.
Okay, just so you understand what we're doing. We are making a documentary about the folk revival of the 50s, late 50s, early 60s. And our focus is the impact that that revival had upon American culture. And we see that in at least two perspectives. As we talk to people, we get more perspectives. But one perspective is that the revival brought to the cities and to people who'd never heard it before a lot of indigenous music from the rural parts of the country in the South, old-timey string music, mountain ballads, a lot of things that people never heard in the cities. And that still exists. Now you can go to Tower Records and find all of this music that you want. And in 1950s, I don't think you could. I think very few people in the cities were listening to it. You might have known it, but the masses didn't know it. And the second impact that I think that the folk revival had upon culture that persists to this day is that it became a part of the consciousness of the youth of the 60s. It became part of the 60s political movement. It became part of what we call now the counterculture. And it exists to this day. Everyone of our generation, we're in our 30s, is aware of Phil Oakes. They're aware of Tom Paxton. Bob Dylan is still writing the not political stuff, but Blowin' in the Wind is a part of, they have become folk songs. And everyone knows them. Everyone doesn't know the right words. They've truly become folk songs. And I think that it is, to a large degree, it is documented here and there. It's documented in writings and articles, but no one has ever made a film about it, and no one has ever tried to pull together the disparate strands of that and put it together in one place.
And as we go through it, we understand why. It is so grand and so vast, and there's so much information. And we're particularly interested in you and your husband, Gordon, and what you did. We don't read a lot about Broadside. We read just passing phrases. We don't read a lot about it.
Well, there isn't very much written about it now.
Yeah. There isn't. It's no. Very interesting. You know what we got from Sunny, which is why we became so interested when we first started. Why isn't this documented?
Did Sunny first tell you about Broadside? Is that the first that you'd heard?
We knew about it, but we've never really read about it in books. You read about it. There was a topical magazine, Broadside, started, edited by.
You read a paragraph in a book on the Times.
Yes, I know. I know. We've been in several books.
Yes.
But very briefly.
Right.
Right. In fact, this film has lots of advisors on it. I mean, you part of the funding process, you probably know about, is you have to get tons of advisors to be on your film, scholars, and Ken Goldstein's on advising us on the film, and a man named Ron Cohen, who is writing a book about the subject, and a professor named Richard Flax, Dick Flax, who was one of the founding members of the SDS. And when he heard that, he was asking us who we were going to see. We met with him a week before we came out, and we said we were going to see you. He goes, thank goodness somebody's going to do something about Broadside. Someone's going to talk about that. I never hear about it, and it was interesting.
Well, Broadside, we just had to fold, We just simply could not raise the money at all. It got to the point where we just couldn't. But I don't know, in the beginning, we had, the way we started out, we contacted Seeger, of course. We've always known Seeger since he was a kid. So we contacted him first, and he was interested, and we said, well, we needed somebody to help us, So he got Gil Turner, who was Master of Ceremonies at Folk City. He said he thinks this would be the best person to help us start out. So the three of us, Gordon and myself and Gil Turner, started the magazine. And Seeger he came to our meetings for a couple of years. We had like monthly meetings for a while, and Gil Turner got Dylan. And Dylan came to our meetings, and Dylan was writing this very powerful stuff then, you know, Masters of War and Pawns in the Game. And my husband gave him clippings on Hattie Carroll, and he wrote this song about the lonesome death of Hattie Carroll, which Phil used to say was Dylan's best song. I don't know why, but he seemed to think it was Dylan's best song. And but he simply was coming out with very powerful stuff. We had about 30 of his songs in the early broadside, and we had about 70 of Phil's songs. And but I think Phil then began to write really more powerful songs than Dylan. Dylan sort of went off in poetry, you know, putting poetry in music, which was good, you know, great stuff. You loved to listen to it. But it wasn't so specific and driving as Phil then started to write. And I think Phil bested Dylan in very, very powerful songs that he kept writing them. He just kept on.
What you read about Phil is that he was incredibly prolific. He'd write songs constantly.
He used to come up here and he said, I've got 7 new songs. And so we'd say, you mean just know that? Yeah, he said, just this week. He said, I wrote a couple of them on my way up here. On the subway. And they were all great, you know, and of course we could not get them all in. He was writing too fast. It was impossible. If we'd put all Phil's songs in there, we wouldn't have gotten anybody else's songs because the magazine was very limited. It was very small, you know. So, but his songs were so. And I remember one time Gordon asked him, where do you get all this material for your songs? He says, I get it out of the New York Times and Newsweek.
Let me ask you a little bit about the process. Nobody would notate their own songs and just send them to you, would they? They'd come up, as I understand, they'd sing them into your tape recorder?
Very few people, very few knew how to do that, to write their music. No, we got them on tapes. At that time on reel-to-reel tapes, and I transcribed them then.
You were trained as a musician and knew how to read and write music?
Well, a kind of a musician. I don't know. I wasn't any. You know, I wasn't the kind of a musician that can claim to say, "Look, I'm a great musician." I don't know that. But I did know enough about music theory to transcribe the songs. So just the melodies. You know, that's what we did.
And were the tapings always done at these meetings, or did people sometimes come on their own or wanted to?
No, they weren't always done at these meetings. We had almost every day somebody came.
Oh, really?
Of course, we weren't in this apartment when we started out. We were in a low-income housing project over here, where it was illegal to do anything like we were doing. We did it for 2 years there. We started out in '62 and we didn't move in here until '64. This was a professional apartment. So as the magazine grew, it was almost impossible for us to keep on doing it there. And, you know, because in those places, inspectors come around, you know. We used to have to hide the magazines when we took them to the post office, which was just a little ways from where we lived. We put them in a shopping cart and covered them very carefully. You know, we'd have a shopping cart full of magazines, and we'd cover them and wheel them out. And we got by with it all right for 2 years. But then we.
Did someone find out that you were doing?
No.
You just moved.
Nobody that cared anyway about it.
Right.
Too many people coming into the building, though.
You know?
I want to talk. What were the meetings about? What happened at the meetings?
Mainly, they came and sang.
So it was a venue. It was another place where people.
That was what the meetings really were. All those early meetings that we had. Later on, there got to be yakety yak sort of things, but those first meetings the young people just came and sang their songs onto what we had a big old reel-to-reel tape recorder, and they came and sang their songs on there, and that was just about what the meeting was, what the meetings were.
How many people at a given meeting generally?
About 10,
Okay.
10 or 12 or something like that, you know. Well, later on, after we moved in here, and the magazine had grown a lot, you know, since then, since we moved over here. We've had meetings here where this place was absolutely full. Those double doors were open, and that was full of people, and this was full of people. But then we stopped having meetings because they were impossible. They just got
So people would then just send you songs?
Everybody had ideas, you know, and the meetings got to be chaotic, you know.
Did certain people emerge as, you know, in a crowd, sometimes somebody's a leader, somebody's going to talk more or throw out more ideas or have more songs. Did certain people emerge as
I think Gil
the
Turner,
ringleaders?
in those early meetings, I think Gil Turner did more of that, you know, sort of taking over, you know.
Was he a performer?
Dylan was very shy. You can get a word out of him.
Is that right?
But the tape recorder would be there, you know, and he'd sing, and he'd forget his lyrics a lot of times. And so his girlfriend was with him, Susie, and then he'd say, "Susie, will you be sure and get the rest of those lyrics and mail them tomorrow, you know?" So we get the rest of the lyrics in the mail, but I'd have all I needed to transcribe on the tape, you know.
Was Phil or Tom Paxton or some of the folks that are Eric Anderson, did any of them
Oh
come?
yeah, Eric. Oh yes, Eric lived here with us.
Did he?
Yeah, for about 3-4 months when he was trying to start out, and he was pretty down and out, you know. And he just couldn't find any place to stay, and he had slept out on, you know, on park benches or something there for a while. It was kind of cold because it was early in the spring, and so he came here and lived with us for about 3-4 months, and he wrote 2 songs that he still sings, "Violets of Dawn" and "Thirsty Boots." He wrote them while he was here.
Those are his most famous songs, I think.
Yeah, well, those are the songs he still sings. I see he's going to have a booking at Turning Point
Is that right?
in I think later in this month or early in April or something.
And we were wondering, we've had many addresses for him, anywhere from
Yeah.
Staten Island to Sweden to, you know, wherever. I mean,
He was great. He's on the Broadside Records. I have tapes of those records over there you can look at. They put all our albums on tapes now,
I see.
and they packaged them just beautifully. You'll see when you look at those.
Okay.
And those.
No, I wanted to know how it came about when you said you contacted Pete Seeger. I mean, what we're trying to find out here, in this general in our discussions, there was this transition.
I'm telling you, I get started and I know I'll digress from the main
we'll
subject.
get back to it.
Try
It's
to
okay.
keep me on it.
No, it's no problem.
We like to talk, so I need to
This is so interesting to us, you know, it really is. We're like 2 little eager kids here. It's so interesting. There was this transitional period that seemed to spur this, you know, I hate to use the word, but commercialism. Folk music became really popular. And we're trying to just find out that little bit of time right before it, you know, took off. You know, that time in the late 50s, early 60s. What was going on in the folk music scene? Were you involved in that?
You mean in the mid-50s, during the days of the Blacklist?
Yeah, and how did Broadside come about? There were obviously topical songs needed to be out there.
Broadside probably came about because, I mean, from our personal, Gordon's and my personal point of view, because of the Blacklist.
Okay.
Because he was blacklisted absolutely in journalism. He had been working at CBS, shortwave news, and he was blacklisted even before McCarthy came on the scene. He was blacklisted in '48. So we were in a horrible shape, you know, financially, and we had two little kids. Our daughters were little then, and we were going through a very hard period, and it was so bad that I thought that we'd have to find something where we could, do something we felt was important rather than to go out and take a stupid little office job where you sat there, and you typed. That's what I did, one after another, one after another. And so we just, it was out of kind of a desperation, and we were, one of the jobs we did to make a little money was to do Seeger's correspondence. And in the he would dictate his letters on tapes and send them to me, and I'd type them up, and mail them out. So in there was Melvina Reynolds had written to him that she wanted very much. She thought Sing Out is not topical enough. Sing Out devotes its pages mainly to folk music, just
Traditional folk.
Yeah, kind of traditional folk music. And she said you should have a magazine out that puts out new songs, new topical songs that are being written, a new protest song, political song. So that was a great idea, And but then she finally decided that she wanted to just do it. She wanted to do her own thing. She wanted to write her own, sing her own things, have her own concerts, do her own recording and all of that, and that she wouldn't have time to go through the rigmarole putting out a magazine, which is pretty, it's not it's not easy. You can't do much else when you're doing that. So I just said, hey, I bet we could do that. Gordon and I were just we were just in limbo. We didn't know what the heck to do, so that we could. He's a very good journalist, and so I said, with my training in music and your training in journalism, why can't we do this? So we got in touch with Seeger, and we seemed to have impressed him enough, so that he said, yeah, that's a good idea. You're the people to do it. So.
And did you set up the format on how it would be done? Like we'd have these meetings, and how did you plan out what to do?
The early magazines are very. You'll see. I got number 1 there, so you see it. In case you haven't seen these, I don't know if you haven't. But anyway, it was just simple. I mean, we just put a few songs and we ran them off ourselves. We cut the stencils ourselves and ran them off on the mimeograph, and it was just like a little home industry. See, we just did everything. We did it all ourselves, and it was. There was opposition to it. I mean, in the beginning, we had some people who said, "Oh no, there's no songs being written." Lee Hayes was one of those people who said. He wrote me a letter and he said, "What's the use of doing that? There aren't any songs being written." And so I wrote him back and I said, "Oh yes, there are. There's an awful lot of songs being written. They're being written and they're not being used properly, not being, And so, sure enough, it happened that he was wrong about that, because there were. We had so many young people who would just come with their songs, even though any old time, the doorbell would ring and here would be somebody, with a guitar. I got a song, and just dozens and dozens of young people came that way. Just dropped in, with their songs, and we put them on tape, and if we thought they were good for the magazine, Gordon and I sort of sometimes had to just decide ourselves, whether we thought the songs. We tried to, in the very beginning, we tried very hard to have the group judge, like we'd play the tapes that some young person who had come earlier in the month for them. But later on, I don't know, it got to be too difficult to do that. So, I don't know, for a long time there. Gordon and myself, and of course, whoever we could get a hold of at the moment, Phil or whoever, to help us judge, because we had to do away with these meetings. They were getting too, just too many people were coming, and so we had to cut down a lot of that. So, but we kept growing though up until into the 70s, and then what was a little bit. It started to taper off towards the 80s. It started to taper off.
And do you think that was a function of just
No,
things changing?
I think the reason that was that we had to cut down because it was too hard to raise money. It was very hard to raise money. We had a few benefits, and this was an awful lot of work for us to stage a benefit, and we got a little bit too ambitious, and we would have them in places the hall rent was too high, and we just I'm just a part of the backup. He's going to have about 150 or 200 people up there on the stage.
We're going to go. We're going to be
going
there.
to the concert.
And at the Disabled in Action, I'm a member of the Disabled in Action Singers. So we'll just be up there on the stage.
Well, you'll be singing.
Well, sure, we'll be singing, but I don't think we're going to do any solos or anything like that.
Are you in touch with Sigurd now? I mean, do you?
Oh yeah, sure. He came to visit Gordon in a nursing home last summer, and this was quite an interesting thing. And then I don't know, I get a card or a letter or something like that from them, and I send them a card or a letter or something like that. I don't see them too often. In fact, that's the last time I've seen Sigurd was when he came to visit Gordon.
Who introduced you? Did you say Pete introduced you to Gil Turner?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Were you aware at the time when this idea arose through the correspondence between Pete and Malvina? You said you knew that songs were being written. Were you aware of any of the writers who were out there at the time? Did you know of them?
Not too, no, but I think I was thinking about myself because I kept writing songs. I couldn't do anything with them, because I wasn't able to to be a performer, you gotta stay in there, and I couldn't because I had to work and take care of two little kids. I had to hold down some kind of a stupid little old job, some 9-to-5 job, and take care of two small children. And but when the 60s came along, the oldest girl was already in her teens, but it was, they were having trouble in school. The schools were awful. Schools were starting to get very, very bad. The public schools, and a lot of trouble. So it was just too much. I just couldn't keep up the momentum to be a performer. So my songs just got written and put in a box. And I just felt like I just knew that this was happening to a lot of other people. And sure enough, it was. We found out later that when they kept coming here and coming here, young people kept coming here. They'd been writing songs and couldn't get anywhere. Hadn't been able to get anywhere with them, and so that's the way it was.
In the late 50s, early 60s, were you, through your reading just of the newspapers, were you personally aware of what was going on down in the village, for instance, with new singers coming in?
Well, as much as I could be, with my own personal responsibilities.
You had to work
that
and
I
raise
had.
your daughters.
Oh yeah, I couldn't just keep up with it like I would have liked to, But I knew what was sort of what was going on. And even though I couldn't be there all the time, it was impossible for me to be there. And we had, there were those, after the almanacs were disbanded, there was people's songs and people's artists, I guess you know all about that. And I wasn't able to really participate in that like I would have liked to. But
Broadside used to hold hoots around town after it got going, didn't it?
yes, we had one whole season. We had hoots in the village gate. Those were good.
Do you remember approximately how many years had you been going when you first had your first hoots?
I think we had those first hoots in the village gate were in I think late '63 and into '64.
So just about a couple of years, you think?
Yes, and then we had those were great. They were the Seeger's boy taped those for us, and on those big old reel-to-reels, and so later on we were able to take some of them off and put them on the Broadside records, Broadside LPs that Moash put out for us. Now they're on tape, and well, it was very difficult in the beginning, but we finally as we progressed, we sort of got into the swing of it, and it was great,
Well, what was the response? I mean, when you put out the first few issues, I'm curious about the community, like the people. There were sing-outs. So what were people responding? Did we need another magazine, even though yours was perfect?
What we did, we went into this thing sort of experimentally, because we didn't know what was going to happen, but we sent out 300 copies of the first issue, which is just little mimeograph, little pages of mimeograph stuff, and we got a darn good response. Almost everybody we sent it out to wrote back and said yes, they were interested, and they would take out a trial subscription, which was 5 issues for $1.50. Something like that, I guess. And so, there was a very good response right from the beginning.
And the other musicians in the community, or like the sing-out people, were they upset that you had another a competing?
No, well, I don't know. There was for a while there later on that when Bob Norman was, have you seen him?
No.
Well, he was an editor of Sing Out for quite a while, and we had a good, we had a good relationship with him. I used to quarrel with Silbert quite a bit,
I was curious about that. I was curious about what his reaction was.
Yeah, we used to quarrel every once in a while.
What were his thoughts about Broadside?
Well, he tried to put us down, sort of, in a way, although they took things out of Broadside, and sometimes they didn't bother to give us credit for it, So they used, he used Broadside, but I'd fuss with him, and then he'd give us credit,
Why did he criticize you? Why did he criticize you?
Well, I don't know exactly why. I never could find out exactly why, but there was for a while where he said that the Boston Broadside was it, that we weren't, I don't know why, because the Boston Broadside usually took most of our stuff.
Yeah, well, they copied your format. I mean, did they copy what you had done?
Yeah, they would just take a page out of our magazine, paste it up, So I don't know. I couldn't understand quite why Seeger for a while thought that that he'd say that the Boston broadside's where it's at, you know. Which it wasn't, because it was just sort of, I don't know, it wasn't anything like our broadside at all. Or at least I didn't feel like it was, although they're different songs. But anyway, we didn't have any serious, you know, fights or anything like that. But I remember telling Seeger about it once. I said, why is it that Erwin Silber is saying now that our broadside doesn't amount, I mean, implying that our broadside is really not, and it's the Boston broadside. But the Seeger said, you got to straighten this out with Silber. And he hung up. So I tried to straighten it out with Silber. But anyway, when Bob Norman got to be editor, he used to print stuff. I'd send him, he printed some stuff that I wrote, and articles that I wrote, and songs that I wrote, and things. So we got along fine then. And he was more topically oriented than the editor they have now, for example.
It is very traditional now, I think.
The magazine.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
very
yes,
much.
very
Yeah,
much
Mark
so.
Silver
Very
also.
well.
Yes, it is, and I know Pete has said that we must all make an effort to get Sing Out to be more political, you know, and put in more protest stuff. But they don't seem to respond. They don't. They still come out and they're mainly they print old traditional songs, and the new songs that they print are written, you know, written like well, they could have been written 50 or 100 years ago. So, but anyway, whoops.
Let me grab this for you.
Oh golly.
There's one.
Well, the heck with it. I've got all the threads and all the everything. Spring it over again. So.
And let me
Okay. Just
put these
put 'em
right in there.
Over there. So, Seeger would, I know he had said that he would like to have Sing Out more topical. I sent him my songbook, and which is got a lot of some fairly new songs in it, and that Gordon and I wrote, and they were going to review it, but they didn't review it. They just copied a review out of Legacy, out of a book Legacy. They just copied the review out of book Legacy. So I don't think they even looked at the songbook. But Seeger mentioned it in Appleseed, and I got some response from that.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
That's good.
So.
I'm a little curious about, we touched on the hoots that you used to hold. Was there a format to those? Were they held on the same night every week or every month, or?
Yes, the Village Gate ones were once a month.
I see.
A certain Sunday I've forgotten which Sunday it was, but a certain Sunday of every month. For that whole season, beginning in September and going through, I think June.
And was it open mic, or did people play by invitation?
Well, it was, in a way, it was a kind of an open mic, except a lot of young people got in through the back, through the little eating joint there, and sometimes it'd be a whole the back back of the area back of the stage would be just full of these. They got in through the back somehow, and we would have it was too many. We'd have to eliminate them. We couldn't let them all. It was impossible in a 2-hour program to let them all sing. It was a shame, but that's the way it was, and perform. We used to have hoots in this place.
Here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. For a couple of years we'd open that up, and open this up and just, you know, have people sitting all through here and all back there, and we'd get 100 people in here.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we didn't have all this furniture then. We just had, you know, it was right after we moved in, we didn't have a lot of furniture, so we just had, and we had, at those hoops, we had quite a few. We had Eric Anderson, and we had Len Chandler, and we had Melvina Reynolds, and Janice Ian, and Seeger came, and Phil, and Dylan never did. Because that was later on. That was in the later on in the 60s that we had these hoops here. This was good because we didn't have to pay any hall rent.
What did your
It
neighbors
was
think?
just like rent. It was just like rent, sort of like rent parties.
parties.
Yeah, it was kind of like rent parties.
Did you charge a small admission and then?
Yeah, $1 or something like that.
And did you charge also at the Vanguard? Did you charge a small admission for people?
Oh yes, sure. I think we charged a little bit more for those than we did for these.
The performers at the Vanguard weren't paid, were they?
No,
They paid
except
for
if they needed it.
for the chance to
You
play.
know, except if they really needed it. We did pay some of them, but most of them didn't.
And
Seeger was nearly always there, and you know, you didn't have to pay him, and you
Sure.
didn't have to pay Peter Lafarge because he had money.
yeah.
And I think we gave I don't know who in the world did that. I think Judas Lester. I think we paid him something. But we had all of those Broadsiders came, so we'd have a darn good program every time. You know? Without planning it, it'd be just good without the planning.
And did that become popular so that there was more and more people that would come to them? The audience?
Beg pardon?
Did they become so popular that the place would just fill up the audience?
Oh,
would come?
the place was always absolutely packed for those Village Gate hoots.
And so you held it here, and you held it at the Village Gate. Did you do any town hall hoots, or hold them anywhere bigger venues, anywhere else?
No, we didn't. Churches we had several benefits in churches. Church, you know, the sanctuaries of churches, and those were well attended. They were pretty well attended. But we didn't charge a lot of admission, you know, so we couldn't raise a lot of money, and we always had to pay quite a bit of rent on those. The churches weren't, you know,
Very expensive, huh?
they
Yeah.
were in the business of making money for themselves, so we hardly, we about break even on those.
Mm-hmm.
We hardly ever came through them with anything left over.
Did you have to run the money back into the magazine?
Did we what?
Put the money back into the magazine. You know, you needed to raise the money to keep putting out Broadside.
Well, whatever money we raised sure went right into the magazine,
Yeah.
but it was when you went into the business of putting on performances in halls, and it was the rents were just too much. You know, we couldn't.
Were you surprised by the amount of success and/or money, for example, your Peter, Paul, and Mary made from a song like "Blowing in the Wind," or all of a sudden now, what we found was fascinating when everybody keeps telling us there was money to be made, whereas there was never a lot of money to be made prior with this type of...
All right, I'll tell you about "Blowing in the Wind." Dylan came and sang it right after he wrote it. He had sung it at Folk City, and Gil Turner got him up here, and he sang that on a tape recorder, and I recorded it, put it in Broadside a whole year before Peter, Paul, and Mary. One whole year before Peter, Paul, and Mary made it famous. Yeah.
So were you surprised when they made it famous and all of a sudden the public obviously responded to that song and the
Well,
success?
I wasn't really surprised because I thought, here's a song that by golly, if it doesn't get popular somehow or other, we might as well just give up on the whole cultural area of our society.
Just such a great song.
Yeah, and so I wasn't surprised at all, you know, but of course, Broadside, I mean, we printed the song on a little mimeograph page, you know, had it in there for the whole year, but it was impossible for us to realize anything financially from that, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You didn't take any copyrights, did you? They all
No.
belong to the writers.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The copyrights were absolutely always to the writers. We didn't copyright anything.
You must have observed some of the kids who came here. You must have observed them sign record contracts and go on to make records. Was that Phil, for instance? He came here before he was recording. Did he ever talk to you about how he felt about getting his record contract?
Well, yes, Phil kept coming here. You know, Dylan stopped coming here when he got famous. Phil kept coming, and as he put Gordon and I wrote the liner notes for his first album.
I've read those, yes.
And he, you know, he didn't. He made a contribution, you know, a small contribution once in a while for Broadside. You know. And we kept putting his songs in, you know. And we always figured that as long as Phil will let us print his songs, you know, that this keeps young people interested in the magazine. So what the heck, you know?
Was he himself very political? Did he, other than his songs,
Yes.
did he talk and have an interest in events?
Yes, I think so. He was very political. And his songs stayed more specifically political than Dylan's did.
Were you surprised when Dylan stopped coming?
Was I surprised when he stopped coming?
Yeah. Did
No.
you? No, I'm just wondering, because, you know, just knowing.
No, he got so darn famous that I thought he's not going to come around here anymore. But he really took off. He got famous much quicker than Phil did. Phil, you know, I think Phil has gotten more famous since his death.
Yes.
Than
Yes, I
than he was than before.
How did the idea come about to do the first record?
Beg pardon?
How did the idea come about to do the first Broadside record album?
I don't know. We just decided that. Pete, we had, you know, we would hit Pete up for advice all the time, and we'd ask him about that, and he thought that was a darn good idea, you know, to put out an album if Mo would do it, you know. So Mo would do it, of course. So the very first album, the very first LP had Dylan on it, you know. And I think, did they get Dylan for another one? I don't they're right over there.
Right.
I didn't even look that
We can look at them.
Yeah, you can look at them. The brochures are in there. The tapes are packaged so that the brochures, the complete brochure, just as we put it out, is in the package.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They look like CDs, but they're not. They're tape. They're just ordinary tapes.
Mo Ash put them all out, correct? All the Broadside albums?
He put out the albums.
So they are on folkways.
And now the
Smithsonian
Smithsonian is putting them on tapes, all of them.
It's amazing.
You want to take a break and look at those, or are you talking for a while?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, would you like some tea? While you look at the stuff?
I would love some tea. It would be
Do you
nice
want
to-
herb tea or regular tea?
Herb tea's
Herb
fine.
tea.
Herb
yeah.
tea, okay. Well, here's the stuff over here. You can look at it. I use too much coffee.
Okay.
Okay.
Thing out here. So there are pictures, and I have in a box. I have photographs of most all the people who used to come around here. So I have them.
Things that were taken by you or by your husband? or?
By a wandering photographer who's coming through. Would take pictures here or give me pictures that they had taken of these people like Eric Anderson, Bill, all those people, Janice, Elvina. If they didn't take a picture here, they took it somewhere else, and they did. So I have pictures of all of them.
Is it, as we get a little further, can we come back at some point and look through those pictures and see?
Sure.
Because one of the things we'd like to do in the film also is get things people haven't seen yet. You know, there's stock. Dave Garr has.
Some more tea, there's more in here.
I
Sure,
would love
sure.
some.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's really tasty.
Oh, that's fine.
Hope
Thank
it's
you.
still hot.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
It may not be.
Thank you very much.
Good.
So much of this, as well as your tape, should be preserved, and
Well, somebody else will have to observe it besides me, I guess.
well,
I'm having a hard enough time to preserve myself.
I understand. I understand. It's an interesting story, Sis. I know you lived through it, but listening to it from our perspective, I mean, it sounds so interesting. It's different, you know, you definitely made a living doing different things than, you know, the norm or what most people do. Yeah.
I was a while back I was counting up all the different jobs that I had. I didn't count broadside, and I didn't count, I counted all the folksing I've done as one job, and all the school teaching I've done as one job, but I had 34 different jobs.
God.
I counted them all up, and I think I remembered them all. I may have left out a few. The checkable one. I just wouldn't be able to stand a job like that very long.
Mhm.
So I just quit, you know. Pretty soon I realized I gotta get another one, so I took another job. You know.
did Broadside generate enough money to provide you and your husband and children with a living through the 60s and 70s?
Well, I don't know whether you call it a living or not, but an existence.
You can exist.
You didn't have to do anything
We
else, and
saved up anything.
you could pay the rent and eat.
We
And that was it.
just, we managed to survive, and I guess that's all we really needed to do, survive.
I see that you've been, I saw a copy of, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Carol Hanisch or Hansch. She worked with you on a small book. Is that something that's available?
Songbook?
Yeah, the
Sure,
Red
I have a
Dust
lot
and
of
Broadside.
those. I have a lot of copies of those.
Do you sell
Oh,
these?
that's your songbook. That's a songbook you said that you sent to Sing Out to review. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Times review. I don't think anybody there even looked at it. They copied the review out of Come All Ye. That's the book legacy. Copied it word for word.
Yeah.
And they got me to write an obituary for Arthur Stern, who died. He lived in this building. And I think at that time I could have said, look, I'll write that obituary for you if you will really review my songbook.
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't. I let the time go by and do that. So I guess it's too late now to try to do it. But I thought, you know, they would really review it. You know, that somebody on the Sing Out staff would review it. I was sure they would. And then when I saw that hope, that legacy, I'll forget, there's something there you might want to look at.
These are wonderful.
This is little excerpts from all the people who well, not all of them, some of them were the best ones. Reviews of the songbook and little cards, like I got one from Peggy Seeger and so on. This is about the songbook.
Thank you.
Well, that was the best one I got from the socialist. I don't know where, I didn't send them, I didn't send them a copy, they got a hold of
They
it
got-
somewhere else. They got a hold of it.
Dear friends of Broadside, send that from France. Are you surprised at the continuing impact Broadside has had on so many people around the world?
Am I surprised? Well, I don't know. You know, at one time we had subscribers in 12 different countries.
Okay, so, yeah.
Huh.
Were you pleased? I mean, you gotta be pleased. It's,
And we still hear from some of those people every once in a while. Some ordered my songbook, you know, because I sent out flyers to the list of people in the foreign countries, especially in the foreign countries who had subscribed to Broadside. I sent flyers to them. And I got quite a few people ordered the songbook and the tape on my tape from countries, France, Germany, England, where else? Italy, I think. Japan.
do you sell the tapes also? Are those available? The cassette?
Yes, I only have one copy of that letter. And my daughter's going to make me a bunch of more copies of my tape. Red Dust and Broadside.
Jackie Wilbur. She's up in Schenectady.
Are you ever here in June?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, right, yeah.
Because that People's Music Network is a very interesting thing. They have a summer gathering the first weekend in June up at camp up here, and it's very interesting. There's
Really?
a lot of topical songs.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That sounds
so
good.
here in June, Charlie King is, he's one of the original people that got that group together.
Is Sunny involved with that at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I
that's
think
what
she,
she
did she
is.
mention it
She
to
took
us?
out the book, there's a,
Oh, okay.
She's the one who interviewed me when they,
I see. This is wonderful. What I would like to do before we go is copy down the serial numbers on those tapes so we can get them properly from the Smithsonian. They have
well, what, you gonna want to buy them? You need those tapes?
the Broadside albums. Yeah.
These?
Yeah.
Well, I have them for sale.
Oh, you sell them?
Oh, you sell 'em?
I
I
thought those were your copies. I'll
No,
buy.
I sell these.
Oh, I'll buy them from you. I can get to go home with them.
Okay, yeah, I got me a little supply of them so I could So I could take them to the places where I go, you know, like the People's Music Network. They always have a table there. And you
Oh,
can
let us know.
discuss out on it.
Oh, well, we'll take
So
one of
I got a
each.
little supply of them.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to buy them. And I also like your songbook.
They're, I think I've got these are all heavy.
Just $12.
But there's two of them that are 8. And you don't want them all, do you?
Sure do.
All these? Well, yeah.
Is there a problem?
No, there isn't a problem
I'm
at
making a
all.
haul for them.
Well, this is an interview with Bill.
For us, you know, for purposes of what we're doing, they're valuable to us, so.
We would love as much of this material as we
Okay,
can
well,
handle.
you can buy these, 'cause I have.
We didn't realize that, yeah.
I thought these were your copies, so you said that.
No, I got a little supply of them, not a lot. I'm not really an entrepreneur yet.
These have not been played yet, have they? These are...
No, we haven't been playing.
Okay.
They've been opened so people could look at the brochure. Some of them have been opened. So
Right.
people could look at the brochure. So,
Do you get many visitors who want to talk about broadside and things?
well, I haven't had a lot of visitors right lately. Not in the last few months. But I get letters from people who want stuff, you know, and we tell them all about it, write them all about it.
Does it tire you, or are you willing, are you happy to do it, or does it trouble you?
No, it's all right. I usually take care of that kind of correspondence. Maybe that's the best I can do. Somebody really that interested. After all.
Well, we would love to come back and talk to you, but I'd love to talk to you about the almanac and actually the earlier. It's interesting, you started in the 30s.
Well,
Talk
that's
about
the Red Dust Players. Red Dust Players. Somehow I printed knowledge on the Red Dust Players. Oklahoma, the University magazine printed a story on the Red Dust Players. So I have copies. I have stuff. Next time we come back,
Okay.
I would have Xerox. I would have Xerox.
Oh, yeah, I love
I
that.
think this is pretty good.
I thought it was, I skimmed, honestly, just skimmed through it right now.
That's pretty good. Could be improved on, but then, so I can have the Xerox maybe this stuff. Next time you come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know when did you say that?
Just add it up.
Do you do that calculator?
I do, actually.
Well, it really does. Just add everything.
I have kind of those, the mother purses, I have
There's
everything.
everything in her purse. Well, another 12. You getting it there? That's 24. 10 is 34. 10 is 44. 10 is 54. 8 is 54.
62.
62. And this one has no price on it. This one has no price on it.
That's 10.
10 is 72.
That's 70 and 8.
Okay. Right.
But I keep track of
Go through it.
There is, have a calculator with your, okay, here, 12. Starting with 12. 12. 10. 10.
Wait.
24, 34, 44. That's it.
24,
10.
54,
8.
52,
That's 10.
72.
72. And we wanted to get the songbook. And that's 8. So that's
Can we write you a check, sis?
Yeah, can you write your check?
Can you write you a check?
That's 80. We're gonna be in town for
Shut up! Shut up! Right now, okay? Right now! Shut up! A lot of the songs are very good and funny both. Yeah, well, give him my regards, Tom, and tell him I hope to see him again one of these days.
We
But
will.
I don't get around too much.
Bill.
Maybe he'll be at the Sears thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
He's in town. I don't know. He's playing at Nassau.
Folk Festival.
Sunday, that Sunday?
Oh, no,
No,
tonight.
Tonight he's
actually.
playing. He's playing out in Uniondale, Nassau, in Long Island.
Nassau Community College has a folk festival every year, and he's playing
He's
there.
playing there tonight, and he's going to meet us tomorrow. And I don't know if he's around on Sunday or what he's doing, but we're going to see him. And
We're going to see Dave Van Ronk.
did you know Dave Van Ronk? He wasn't a topical songwriter at all. He was down in the village scene.
I
But
didn't know him too well, although he wasn't one. He did come to one of our hoops at the village days,
did he? Yeah.
but I don't think he knew what. I think he just came because it was singers and fellows, you know. And I don't think he even realized that he was out of broadside his man. Yeah, he didn't. But I never did get very. I never really know him.
Yeah. And did you know Mary Travers and Peter Yarrow and Noel Stookie well at all?
No, I never. No, I didn't really know him. I rode on a plane with him once going down to that Resurrection City Solidarity
Mhm.
Day. I was on the same plane with him, but they didn't. I mean, they didn't get to know who I was.
They didn't
I
come
knew
here.
who they were, but they
obviously.
didn't. I was with Seeger, so that's how I happened to.
I see.
Seeger and I arranged to go down together, and they happened to be on the same. But I never did really get to know them very well, and I never did go to very many of their concerts. I heard them on, their TV they had. Once in a
Oh,
while
they're
they
very.
play- Every once in a while they play their stuff on TV. We used to go to a lot of Seeger's concerts in Carnegie Hall. And one time he called me up there to sing a song that he had. I didn't know he was going to do it, you know. And that was the sort of. It was all right.
Well, you sung on the Carnegie stage.
Yeah, I've sung on the Carnegie stage. I've sung on the town hall stage several times. Different things.